There's a misalignment between the understanding and the reality of gender and sex in today's society. And I don't mean this in a everyone is equal kind of way or everyone is different kind of way. I mean this in a throughout time and space and in different parts of the world, different sexes had different roles, but they also had different privileges socially. That social privilege translates into power. Now, maybe it's not equal on all fronts. Like maybe socially, one has more advantage in the workforce and one has more advantage in the interpersonal. One has more advantage in the legal and one has more advantage in the religious. It's really not black and white. However, in Canada, at least, my experience with this, the difference became really startlingly stark when I was in mid high school. I was a bit of a ruffian. I was somebody that was not very good. I was a bit of a piece of shit. And I had this guy that I would fight with. We would have casual little fights, especially in wood shop. He would take 80 grit sandpaper and rub me with it. And then I would take paint and spill it on him. And, just stupid back and forth like that, right? In my defense, to my credit, I treated everyone very equally. I had had enough, so I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to start a fight with this guy. I'm going to beat him up real good. And so one day I went to school and I had a frozen plastic bottle of water. Like we were dumb teenagers, right? And I waited, I put it in my locker, I waited till everyone was gone for the day. And it was just me and him in the hallway. I took the water bottle and I hit him over the back of the head and I started beating him with it. I thought, well, he's very sturdy, so he'll fight back and it'll be even and I'm giving myself the upper ground. He didn't defend himself in the slightest. He like had his arms up above his head, and this guy wasn't a pansy. He wasn't a pussy in the slightest. Like he was more than capable of fighting me. He had the energy and the vibe. He could have done it, and I never understood why he never fought back and why he just kind of scampered away. In the moment, I thought, "Wow, I must be scarier and more intimidating than I thought." The next day, he came up to me in the hallway, very grumpy and very battered, and he leaned in and he was angry, and he looked at me and he's just like, "You're lucky you're a girl." And then he left. And in that moment, it all kind of like washed over me. Not like the typical, oh, well, he's so sexist. It was no, it was more just like he couldn't have defended himself. Because if you hit a girl, there's lifelong consequences. This guy's best defense was to do nothing. If he had thrown a punch back, there was a real possibility, if I was a different person, the type of person who could do it, that I could pin the blame on him. Doesn't matter how many bruises he has, who threw the first punch. If he threw a single punch and it made a mark on me, provably, then that could ruin his whole life. That could go on a criminal record. But if I do it to him, there's the social pressure of, the fact that you were beat by a bitch, but also there's the fact that he probably just wouldn't get help anyway. He'd be told to suck it up. But if I got like a single hit on me, and I reported it in the same kind of way, then he would have like legal repercussions, and that is a social privilege that I didn't know I had until I abused it. A lot of people, a lot of women take it for granted. A lot of women who are lesser human beings will take advantage of this and they do horrible things. And that's how guys end up in abusive relationships, but I knew in that moment that we weren't equal because I could ruin his life by choice by assaulting him. If I had like committed to actually going further to the point where he needed to intervene to save his own life, him acting in his own personal interest and safety could have still further ruined his life. That is such an insane level of power that nobody should actually have. If there is no equal punishment for equal crimes, then you can't have a functional society. You just can't. To this day, I just like that comes up to me in my mind every so often. If I ever met him in real life again, straight up, I would like fucking sign a legal contract saying that this is what I was agreeing to do, just so that he could take me out behind the back of a building and land one solid sucker punch. Because bro more than deserves it. Me and my naivete didn't realize what I was doing. I feel like that's more than justified. The kind of guy he was, he probably wouldn't go through with it anyway, because even though he was a bit of a jerk and we were back and forth like, you know, wrestling, again, he's just men are trained to be careful, and the ones that aren't trained to be careful get themselves in trouble.